Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I'm here with a new layout for the Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2017 October kits for this. And I'm up on the blog today for Mixed Media Monday with Anna and Elsie, and I've had my eye on this triangle paper from Pink Fresh Studio since we got the kits, and it's been kind of intimidating for me, so I challenged myself to use it as a background. And I'm going to use that black and white picture that you see there. And what I love about the kits is the exclusive pieces match so well. That striped card behind the picture is from the Project Life kit. It's one of the Project Life cards, and the colors match these triangles perfectly, and so I'm going to use that as a layer. Now I am going to do mixed media on this, so I'm going to take my hand and some white gesso and just do some smudging. And I was surprised that some of the ink on that blue triangle smudged from the paper, but it winds up being okay. It's not a big deal. So I've got a lot of this covered, and you can't even really tell. Like, it kind of looks a little bit hazy, but you can still see the colors. I just wanted to protect the paper from the products that are wet. So I'm going to be using the color kit here. This is the blue shimmers called Loppy Stance, and I just sprayed a little bit of an aqua shimmers onto it to mix in the color, because the blue is a little bit different in the paint than it is on the paper. It's more of a purplish blue on the paper. So what I'm going to do is get my base down here with the color kit, and then come in with a purple gelato and just smudge before it dries, and it gives it just the right amount of color to match that blue triangle, because there's so many different shades of each color, and it's impossible sometimes to get the exact shade. And so I didn't want it to be all the same color, but I did kind of want to match it as well as I could. And the aqua spray that I'm using from my stash is called Well Blew Me Down, and that's actually one that we got in a color kit several months ago, so that was part of a kit. So you kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm using the packaging technique. I'm smudging gelatos with my hands. I'm using the brush to add some splatters. I'm spraying directly onto the paper and then splattering some more, and it just takes some time to work on the background here. I don't want to cover up all those triangles, but I do want to add a little bit of a messy factor behind it, since the triangles are such a geometric pattern and they're so sharp and perfect. You know me, I have to have things a little bit crooked and a little bit off center, and so that is where my mixed media comes in, because you can kind of make it messy and artsy while at the same time being geometric and perfectly straight. So I'm coming in with some pink here. This is from a previous color kit. It's called Sweetheart. And then this is from this color kit. This is the Coral Spray. It's a Vibes called Mango Tango, and it matches the same exact color that's in the triangles. It's a perfect match. It's kind of a corally reddish color, I guess you could say. So I'm going to use some of the Project Life cards. Maybe I just used the one. I think I just used the one there as a layer, but I'm going to work on that later. This is some tissue paper from my stash. I'm just going to add a little bit of a subtle border behind everything, and then add some foam behind my picture there to raise it up. And I'm going to add that Project Life card later. I remember that now. So I'm searching for all things triangle. The chipboard sheet, the puffy stickers, I believe even the ephemera. There are a ton of triangles. And so I'm going to build on that, and I'm going to keep the center line of the page of the triangles sort of as my guide. And I'm going to place some facing left and some facing right, and just sort of make a really cool design. It's fun to just kind of get random and make a design like this. And, you know, and all the shapes just sort of go together. Just makes it really easy to work with. And I didn't even use all the triangles, but there are a lot. And I love these little tiny ones. Very cute. And I decided to go with a black and white picture, mainly because the colors are, you know, I didn't really have any photos that I felt went well with this color scheme, and there is black and white and gray on the paper, and so I felt like it would be a good match. So I did a little bit of machine stitching after sticking down all those triangles. I did a in gold, metallic gold, and I went straight down the middle a few times, and then I stitched around the edges of the two big white triangles on each side, just for a little bit of added texture, and it kind of makes them stand out a little bit more, makes them a little more crisp, since I did all that mixed media work on there. Now I decided that I needed to add some of that yellow golden color. The spray that I reached for was in a color kit a few months ago. It's a Vibes called Glorious Day, and I am going to use the one that's in this color kit. You see it there in the top right hand corner. It's the Creamies Old Yeller. Just a little darker at this point than I wanted to start with, so I want to match up the color as well as I can. I'm going to come back in with that later. So I'm going to use that little Stay Wild piece. I wanted to staple it directly onto my picture, but since I had already added my foam, I could not get the stapler in there, so I just pretend like I stapled it. I stapled it and then glued it down, but for all you know, I stapled it down. You can't really tell, right? So here I go again, adding more triangles just because. And that little Stay Wild piece is actually one of the fabric die cuts from Pink Fresh Studio. It's really, really cool. And that's going to actually serve as my title. Because at this point, you know, I didn't really want to add one of the really big Dear Lizzie titles. I didn't know where I would put that because they're so big. And even with the thickers and the puppy stickers, there wasn't really a place for it. I think with the way this is designed, I like the smaller one, and it was the perfect spot to add it right there on the picture. And sometimes small titles are good. You don't necessarily have to have a huge title. You don't even have to have a title at all if you don't want one. There are no rules. You can make them up as you go. So I decided to add a little bit more pop of this green color, and I went for this paper that's also Pink Fresh Studio. And I decided to fussy cut out a handful of these little flowers. I think I cut out 2 green ones and then one of each of the other colors, just to add a little bit of a layer on top of the picture, just to create some other shape besides a triangle, just to kind of soften things up a little bit and still kind of make this a semi-girly page, because a lot of these colors are, I wouldn't necessarily say boy colors, but they're not really girly colors either, I guess. They're just sort of neutrals. That's just the way my brain looks at them, I guess. But I like these flowers, and I like the pop of green, and I like the way they look overlapping the picture here. And I am going to use that camera also. And I thought about using one of those die cuts as a title, but I decided against it. So here's where I added that Project Life card, and it's very subtle, but you can kind of see the colors kind of peeking around the picture there. And I make it kind of crooked on purpose. Since everything is so straight, I kind of like that it's a little bit wonky. And I pulled out thread from my stash that I have that matches as well as I could. That's the coral red color, and then I've got the royal blue. Well, I would consider that close to a royal blue. And I'm just going to add that in like I love to do under my pictures. And get that all glued down before I hit it accidentally and it moves everywhere. So here's where I'm going to add the camera. I felt like that was a lot of open space where that blue splotchy area is, and so I add a little bit of foam behind that camera to put right there, and then I'm going to tuck in another arrow, and I like how that looks. And then this time I'm going to use this golden yellow thread. And I love the pop of green that that little camera gives. It's a very different shade of green. I wouldn't even know what color green that is, but I like it. And I like how this is coming together. I'm going to use a couple of these little phrase stickers. These are from Pink Fresh Studio, and I believe they're not Pink Fresh Studio, Pretty Little Studio. And those are in the Project Life kit. And most of them are fall sayings, but there are some good generic ones that you can put just about on anything. So here's where I'm going to come in with the darker yellow, old yeller paint. And when it dries, it's really shimmery. It's like a deep, deep yellowish gold. And it looks really, really pretty. I'm going to add in a little bit of journaling down here on the bottom right. Mainly because it's just wide open and I don't have any gesso there, and I knew that my pen would write pretty smoothly. So I do decide to come in with some black ink, and I like how this finishes everything off since there are pops of black going on and the picture is black and white, and I really like how it turned out. And there's the final layout. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was fun to work with something different and challenging for me. I like how the color scheme turned out, even though it's a very sharp-edged type page. I try to make it kind of girly with the little flowers, and yeah, I think it turned out cute. So let me know if you guys have any questions about any of the kits or any of the techniques or products or anything at all. Yeah, I will be more than happy to answer. Make sure you check out Mixed Media Monday on the blog and see what Anna and Elsie created, and keep uploading your layouts to the forum so we can see your beautiful work. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.